morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you present here. I know that there are people present from all over the world. So yes, thank you for joining. And like Katie said, this is going to be a demo on how we have our Shopify integration present. And I'm going to walk you through the entire order sync and inventory sync and stuff like that. And the reason that we wanted to show you this is we understand how important it is to integrate ERP systems with platforms, with e-commerce platforms, because everything is online currently. So yes, without further ado, let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen and let me know when it's open.
Screen is visible. Kimberley.
Okay, thank you. So this is the Shopify store that I have created. Setting up your Shopify store is very easy. It's an easy task. You just need a Shopify account. And once you have your account, you can create multiple stores on your Shopify. So this is the store that I have. It's called Frappe Technologies. And there's no setup done, just some testing that has been going on currently. But other than that, it's a fairly easy job. It takes me 2-3 minutes to set this up. Now, the first step in setting up your integration is setting up the custom app that we're going to use on Shopify itself. So let me take you through those steps. Firstly, we go to the settings of Shopify and we go to the applications and sales channel. So now what we are trying to do here is we're trying to develop a custom app, right? So the first thing we do is go to develop apps. And here you can see that I already have my custom app created. However, I will show you how to do it. Just a note here, this is a one-time task. So once you have set this up, you're set to go from Shopify respect of it. So the first step is to create an app. You can give your app whatever name you want to, and you click on create app. After that, it takes you to a screen similar to this one. So it will give you an overview of what you've mentioned. And then you need to set up your configuration. So here we have various admin API access scopes. So currently what we have to do for any API integration is set the permissions of what the integration is going to do. So this does exactly that. And here you can see Shopify gives you a very friendly UI that is available. So you have an entire list of all the access scopes that are available, and you just need to check the ones that are pertaining to you. So in this case, you see that I have selected about 23, which are essential for this integration to run smoothly. However, depending on your use case, of course, you can go ahead and check or uncheck whatever you'd like. But like I said, for this integration, we have these 23, and all of them are listed on our documentation online. And also you have various screenshots, and you'll have this webinar now after I'm done. So you can always come back here and see which access points are required. So once that is done, your configuration will look like this. All of your access scopes will be listed down here. And you just need to click on create. And after that, you install the app on your store. So right now you see that mine is already installed. You will have a button over here saying install app instead of uninstall, obviously. And once your app is installed, you will have your API credentials set. So this is all that is required with respect to Shopify. It's, like I said, a one-time task, and it takes about 5 minutes or so to set this up. So once we're done here, once we have our API credentials in place, let's jump into the ERPNext aspect of it. So as you know, we have our Frappe Cloud Marketplace, and we have numerous apps on it currently. And the prerequisite for using a Shopify integration is to download and install the e-commerce integrations application that we have. Now, this application is, like I said, available on Marketplace, and it is developed by our very own Frappe team. And with these integrations, you will have various, like, WooCommerce, Unicommerce, and as well as Shopify. So the only thing you need to do as a prerequisite is to install this application on the site that you have. And once you have done that, then you're ready to set up your ERPNext instance as well. So like you see, my instance is called Shopify Integration, and it's hosted on Frappe Cloud. Now our next step is the Shopify setting on your ERPNext instance. So this is where the magic happens. Let me just walk you through all the fields and all the sections that are available here. Navigating to the Shopify settings, of course, I'm sure you all are all privy to it. We have our awesome bar here, and you can just type in Shopify settings. Also, we can go through the sidebar navigation, where you click on integration, and you see that you have, like I said, these marketplace, Unicommerce and WooCommerce and Amazon MWS all set up already. So let me take you through the Shopify setting now. The first section is the authentication details, of course. And we need these 3 fields from the Shopify API credentials that I just showed you. So here you can see I have put my store name, that is Frappe Technologies, in this field here, your shop URL. And you have to pick up your access token and your API secret key and put them in these 2 fields respectively. Now, once that is done, there will be an option to save, and you can save, and that forms a connection with your Shopify store. So your webhook details will be automatically fetched. You don't have to worry about this at all. That's it from the Shopify bit. That's the only thing that you will get from Shopify to ERPNext. Now, the next thing is pertaining to your ERPNext instance and how you want to sync your Shopify orders to ERPNext. So the first, of course, is your customer settings. Now, what happens is whenever an order gets synced from Shopify to ERPNext, if that customer that is available in that particular order is not available in your ERPNext instance, it automatically gets created here. So that's the reason we have this customer group field that is mandatory, because as some of you may be aware, in ERPNext to set up a customer, we need to set up the customer group as well. So for my company, I want my Shopify customers to be segregated separately, which is why I've created a new customer group called Shopify customers. So that needs to be set up here. Now, in some instances, what happens is Shopify allows you to create orders sometimes without mentioning customers. But however, in ERPNext, all of our sales orders require customers to be filled in as a mandatory field, which is why we have this field. So basically here you have to set in a default customer. So in the instance that I just spelled out, ERPNext will take this default customer as the customer for that respective order. So moving ahead, we have company dependent settings. I think this is fairly straightforward. We have our company, the one that you're going to map to your store, your bank account that you're going to use for your sales, and your cost center. So as you know, ERPNext has a setting or as a feature called cost center, where all your financial reports can be segregated into various verticals. So what I have done for my company right now is I have created a cost center called Shopify Online, because I want to know how many sales I've got from Shopify respectively. So that's why this is the different cost center that I have set. Now this next section is your order sync settings. So basically, more often than not, we want to keep a track of which orders are come from Shopify and which is come from your offline sales and so on and so forth. So you can have various naming series for all of your sales rated transactions here. So we have your sales order, your delivery note, and your invoices, which will be important from Shopify, of course, but you can name them as in how you please. So in this section, this is what you have to define. The next one is your taxes and shipping charges. So of course, you're in sales, you have your business online, you will charge tax. And Shopify has their own, tax accounts already set up. I can walk you through that as well, maybe in a bit. But as long as you have your taxes set up in Shopify, the next step is to map it to your ERPNext tax account. So what I've done is, just for the demo purpose, I have mapped my Alabama state tax and New York state tax to 2 ERPNext tax accounts. So we'll see in due course how while an order is created, the taxes get mapped automatically to these accounts as well. Now this is where the fun starts. This is your ERPNext to Shopify sync with respect to items. So these 2 flags basically help your items in ERPNext to automatically get pushed into Shopify. So you don't even need to click a button. As long as these 2 flags are set, whenever you create a new item on your ERPNext instance, it will be available in Shopify, which we will see in a couple of minutes. The next is your inventory sync, again, of utmost importance. Let me take you through all of these fields. So the first is your default warehouse, of course. So basically, if this particular table is not mapped and is not defined, ERPNext will think and will agree that this particular warehouse is your single source of truth, and all of your transactions, your inventory will be mapped to this particular warehouse. Since I mentioned the table, let me jump to that first. So right now we have a simple button over here saying fetch Shopify locations. So when I click on this, what happens is whatever locations you have mentioned here in your Shopify store will automatically get pulled into your ERPNext instance. So right now you can see that I have only one setup, and that's why we see only one over here. But of course, when you have an online business and when you have warehouses in multiple locations, you will have multiple locations here. And the beauty of this is you can map each location to your ERPNext warehouse. That is where your goods exactly are located. So this table does exactly that. It fetches all your locations and then you can map your respective ERPNext warehouse. Now, this flag over here, update ERPNext stock levels to Shopify. Like I said, in this integration, we have ERPNext as a single source of truth for your inventory. So all of your stock levels are always pushed from ERPNext to Shopify and not the other way around. So this flag basically enables your ERPNext stock levels to be pushed from ERPNext to Shopify with respect to these particular warehouses. Now, of course, you can set the frequency. We have 5, 10, 15, 30, 60 minutes. The ideal recommended frequency to be set is, of course, 60 to 30 minutes because it's a background job, all of the overhead and stuff like that. And let's be honest, you don't need your inventory to be synced every 5 minutes. But of course, for demo purposes, because we're going to see it in real time, I've set it as 5 for now. And now we come to our last setting, which is called sync all orders. So this is primarily for the use case where you've been maybe using Shopify for a long time now, and you've been newly introduced to ERPNext and you want to move your company there, you want to get onboarded. So this setting lets you sync all of the old orders that you have on Shopify to your new ERPNext instance. And you can also set your time limit. So maybe you want only a specific quarter of orders to be synced, or maybe a specific financial year. So if you click on this, there will be a from and to option where you can set your timeline. So if you want only maybe Jan to June, those orders can be synced as well. So yeah, this is all about the Shopify setting page. As you can see, it's fairly straightforward, but sometimes I know it does get a little confusing. So I think if we have questions regarding this, of course, we'll see later. But this is all that you need to set up in your Shopify settings to get going. So once this is done, let me save. Let me uncheck this. Save the settings. And of course, the enable Shopify flag that you need to check to begin your integration. So once this is saved, it has without any errors. Perfect. Right, so now our setup is done. So this was all about the configuration. We've gone through your Shopify configuration, how you need to set the custom app up. We've gone through the marketplace app, and we've gone through our Shopify setting. So once you're set with this, we are ready to see how the inventory, the product, and the order sync happens. So yeah, let's dive into the demo, the real life demo. Let me first start with the item sync. So I will create an item right now in ERPNext. And I will show you how that item gets duplicated or pushed to Shopify. So I'm maintaining my opening stock as 50. I have 50 books currently. And I'm also maintaining a valuation rate of 10 per book. I'll also give a description here. I like mystery novels, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna save this. Yep, so once this is done, let's go back to our Shopify instance. Voila, yeah, you see that the book is created and it almost happened instantaneously. We created it on ERPNext and the next second it was available here. However, we noticed that first of all, the status is in draft. So this is one point to note that whenever your items get pushed to Shopify, it always gets pushed in the draft status for an obviously simple example and simple reason that not all of the items will be ready to publish on your online store. So that's the reason we push items in the draft status. However, you can Shopify has the functionality where you can select and you can with 2 clicks, I think, just activate your item. So right now, that's what I'm going to do. And also notice that we have right now 0 stock in inventory. However, in in our item on ERPNext, we mentioned that there is 50 of this available. So now we had seen earlier that the inventory sync will happen every 5 minutes. So let's come back after 5 minutes and let's see how or the inventory stock is also pushed here. In the meantime, let me create a new item on Shopify and show you how we can sync that to ERPNext. So I'm making another one here, saying book itself. I'm going to make this a biography. Same price. And I'm going to say that we have 5 available in our store. So once I save this, let me also activate it. Okay, so we have this book available on Shopify. Now what we want to do is we want to import it to ERPNext. In the Shopify settings, we see this one button over here called import products. And this is what we're going to use to sync our new items that are created in Shopify and move them to ERPNext. So here, like you can see, without, again, this happen instantaneously, we have the product in Shopify already available here. However, we can see that the status is not synced. So I can just click this button and sync this seamlessly. So right now it says synced, and I'll go to the item list in a while, and I'll show you how the item is available in our instance now. I also want to bring to your notice this amazing counter that we have. So here it very seamlessly tells you that you have 11 products in Shopify, 11 in ERPNext, and all 11 are synced right now. So you all may be thinking of a question like, what if I have multiple items on Shopify and they are all they're available here? I can't go on and sync everyone, right? So we have this option also called sync all products. So with this click, all of your products will be synced automatically. Now let me take you to the item list, and here we can see that the item is now created in ERPNext as well. And we have the item group, the description, that's all been fetched from Shopify. Another point to note, even though we mentioned that the price or the valuation is 10 and we have that particular stock available, you can see that that has not been fetched currently in ERPNext. So again, to reiterate what I spoke about, that ERPNext is considered as the single source of truth currently. That is why we don't sync our stock levels from Shopify to ERPNext. And there are, of course, a lot of reasons for which it has been designed this way. But one reason I can spell out to you all is because in ERPNext or in any ERP system, there are various ways to create items. We create items via manufacturing, we subcontract, we outsource, and so on and so forth. So because of that exact reason, there are a lot of things that happen in the back end. For example, your valuation rate changes, your accounting impact changes, and so on and so forth. So that is the reason that right now we have not enabled the two-way sync from Shopify to ERPNext in terms of stock levels. So having said that, let's go back to our Shopify instance. I think it's been 5 minutes. No, it's not. Okay. I think in another 2 minutes or so, the inventory will get updated. But let's wait for that to happen. Once that happens, I'll show that to you all. So once this is done, now we have seen the item sync. We have also seen inventory sync. That will happen soon. Now let's go to our order. So this is what Shopify and ERPNext entails, right? We want to see how our orders from Shopify are pushed to ERPNext. So let's go ahead and create a new order. I'm going to use the book that I just created. Okay, I want to sell 3. And I want to create now a new customer and show you all, demonstrate to you all how this new customer automatically gets created in ERPNext as well. So I'm just going to call it MNC Tech in Alabama. And of course, you can fill in all of these details, but I'm just going to leave it blank for now. And I'm going to save this. Okay, MNC Tech has been created as a customer in the system. And like you can see, the state tax has also been applied here. 31.2 is the final amount. Let's create this order. Order. Okay. So this order has been created. Let me just refresh. So when I go to my order list, we see that, oh, the customer did not get picked up. No worries. Let's duplicate this order and pick the customer again. MNC Tech. Okay. Looks like our order has been created now. Here you go. Let's go back to ERPNext. So here, like you can see, the order got created on Shopify for the customer called MNC Tech, which was not available, of course, in ERPNext earlier. So I'm going to show you how that customer also got created. But first, let's look at the order. So here, like you can see, Shopify has a unique order number and also a unique order ID. So that has been picked up from Shopify and also the order number. Let's go back and check. Yes, 102. So that's been picked. The customer has been picked, the date, and also the address, of course, and your item details. All of that has been fetched from Shopify. Now let me quickly also show you the customer created. So here, like we mentioned in the Shopify setting, that this customer group needs to be assigned to Shopify customers. So that has worked perfectly. And we also have our address and contact set up. Perfect. So now that we see how instantaneously after creating an order on Shopify, the order got synced to ERPNext. Now let's see what happens when we fulfill the order or deliver the order. And then let's see what happens when we get a payment for the order as well. So let me fulfill these items. So of course, you can add your tracking number and shipping information there. I'm sure you all have seen that field. So we say the Shopify is telling us that the order is fulfilled. Let's go back to ERPNext and check it out. Okay, a little delay. Okay, so now what has happened? One item may have gone out of stock. So we see that our integration has picked up that, hey, there's no inventory available in ERPNext and on Shopify. So that is why the delivery has not gone through. So what I'm going to do is, this is great. This is great that it happens because you see now this works and ERPNext will not create delivery notes if something is missing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my products. And also, let me point out here that after 5 minutes, 5 minutes has been up. So this stock here has been updated to 50, like I showed you. So now let's use this particular product to make an order. So now if I go here, let me just update the price, $10. Okay, so this product is ready. We have a lot of quantity, so let's create an order. We use MNC Tech. Oh, I think Shopify doesn't like MNC tech, huh? Let me use another customer then. Okay. I think Shopify doesn't want me to show you.
I think you just need to save the order maybe.
No, it usually does happen. Let me try saving also. So when you save the order from here, a draft order gets created first, and then we create the order from there, like Ankush has mentioned. But for some reason, Shopify is not letting me enter in my customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another order that was already created and duplicate it. Let me go to my orders. I'm going to add the product that we just got in. Okay. Okay, so I guess we see order created. Let me refresh this page and check it out. Okay, this has got created. Let's go back to ERPNext. Okay, so this is the order that just got created. And like I said, this has been fetched in from Shopify. Now let me fulfill the item. So basically, we're telling the system that this item has been delivered. And with that, like you can see, the item has been fulfilled and delivered. So now let's go back to the order here and check out the delivery. Okay, so here we can see, I think that there was a problem maybe with the customer linkage. But like you can see, we have the order, maybe because of the quantity not being available in ERPNext is why that happened. But here we can see that the delivery note has been created after the order is fulfilled in Shopify, and we have it linked also to our sales order. So we have all of the information pulled in here and the addresses as well. Now let's go and quickly get our payment also from the customer. So let me mark this as paid, and we'll see how the sales invoice is also synced. So once this is done, let me go back to the order. Okay, so once the sales invoice, once we marked in Shopify that we have received the payment, we see that the order has been marked as completed and the sales invoice is also linked. So let's check that out. It's saying that we have received the payment. Let's also look at the ledger because we want to see if our accounts have been hit right? So here we can see the tax account that we have defined in our Shopify settings got hit, and our debtors and sales accounts, of course. Now I will also take you through the payment entry that gets created and show you how the bank that we had set up in our Shopify settings got hit. So here we see that Citibank that we had set up there got hit with the final amount of our order. So yes, this is basically how your Shopify orders are synced to ERPNext, how your inventory is synced to ERPNext, and also how your products and items can be synced. So this is the end of the demo. In this demo, we saw how to set it up, how to sync, and so on and so forth. So I think the flow is open to you guys. If y'all have any questions, and any suggestions as to how we can improve the integration, please let us know.
Wonderful demonstration, Kimberly. So guys, you can unmute and ask your questions. We see a lot of questions on the chat box as well. Some of them already being answered by other colleagues of ours and community members as well. So if you'd like to ask questions, you can just unmute yourself and ask, or you can raise your hands.
Yeah, Kimberly, this is Jay. How does this work when a B2C kind of scenario where the payment is already done at the time of the orders being placed? So is the sales invoice get generated right after the order is created, or how does that work?
Yes, Jay. Hi, thanks for your question. So, like you can see, I can share my screen and show it to you. So we have an option to pay it at the time of order creation also. So when you do that on Shopify, your sales invoice is automatically created in ERPNext. So that happens instantaneously as well. So instead of taking the payment later for your B2C customers, you can say marked as payment, and that will get replicated in ERPNext as your sales invoice and your payment entry.
And just to add to that, like if you already have like payment integration with Shopify, like if you have checkout enabled with card or PayPal, etc., then by default, like all orders, if you are forcing your end user to just pay at checkout, then by default all orders are paid at checkout, and invoice will get created almost immediately with the order.
So we've got Hassan and Gunnar with questions. Hassan, I believe, has left.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you please explain me the integration setup again, because I was some late and I couldn't attend the initial part.
Hassan, we'll have the recording of this video coming up on YouTube on our channel in the next couple of days. So tune into that. You'll probably have your answers there.
Thank you.
And we have also updated the documentation. So for like there were some recent changes with how Shopify authenticates. So you can get the latest setup information from the documentation also. I'll just drop the link here.
Great demo, Kimberly and Katie. Thanks for it. I think this was quite easy to understand. So I remember, when we used this integration in an earlier project, I think discounts, right, between Shopify and ERPNext was a major issue because Shopify has discounts at multiple levels, right? So you could have discount at an order, you could have a discount at an item, and there are something called as discount codes or coupons. So, is this now sorted in ERPNext, this discount integration?
So yeah, I'm aware of the issue. So earlier we weren't supporting all the multi-level discounts,
right?
And it was so that issue was resolved, I think, around 6 to 8 months ago, I think, and that works now. So you can give item level discount, you can give cart level discount, you can have 2-item discount, like any combination of discount, and it just works. And we have a few users who are doing this B2C setup where they give various very weird sort of discounts, like there might be some partial discount on some category of items, etc.
E-commerce is all about discounts, my friend. So
so discounts work now. The way it is handled is a bit weird because we need to have that parity with how Shopify does it. So when you discount something on Shopify on ERPNext, the rate itself will get reduced, and in another field you will see how much of the discount was given against that item. But you will not see the selling price directly because of the way two systems work is a bit different. So somehow we need to have correct accounting, but we can't have the exact same order here. So,
got it. Yeah. See, the order will not be reflected exactly, but at least accounting wise, we can take care of it.
Accounting wise, it will be exactly correct, and we have resolved all the discount related issues like 6 to 8 months ago. I don't remember the date.
Okay, got it. Just a quick second question. So generally, in a setup like this, right? So where you have an ERP in the backend, ideally fulfillment should be happening from the ERP, right? So that's the operations usually will be using the ERP, whereas sales and marketing would be using the front end, right? So
yep. So we have
yeah.
received this request multiple times now.
Okay.
We have this in our plans where we'll let users configure whether they want to fulfill via Shopify or via ERPNext.
That would be brilliant, actually.
Yeah. And so yeah, I agree that fulfilling via ERPNext also is a additional option is required by many users. So it will be happening soon. A colleague of mine is working on this.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. And once again, a very good demo, Kimberly. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Gunnar has a question. He's been waiting for some time now.
Yes, my question is, how does it work to have items that are existing in ERPNext and will be handled in ERPNext, but do not touch at all the Shopify store?
As in, you have some items that are not present in Shopify, and you just like you don't sell them, like raw materials, for example.
Exactly.
I'm not so sure about this, but I think what you are looking for is you don't want certain items to get synced to Shopify, right? Like that's the.
I don't want them to exist in Shopify to begin with.
Okay. I got it. I think we don't support this yet, but in our other integrations, we have provided an option like which particular items you want to sync. Right now, Shopify one, to best of my knowledge, doesn't have that. But yeah, we can add this. It's a very small request, like don't sync all the items, just sync like a subset of items that I'm actually selling.
Okay, so for now, Shopify is an exact synchronization of the ERPNext inventory, no matter what.
Yep. Okay. But you can choose not to publish them. So they are not all available to your customer. They are just synced to make sure.
Yes, I know, but I don't want to know Shopify to know about them at all because it doesn't matter, and I'm not quite sure. I think Shopify cares about how much revenue you do, and you have to pay Shopify based on your revenue. Maybe that's not quite correct, but if it was correct, then it should be possible to sell without touching Shopify because it will cost you more money. But I'm not so sure about that, if that really is the case.
Okay, so for me, like from my point of view, I think the main concern is you don't want every item to get synced, and we offer this option in our other integrations like Unicommerce, where you have an option to select like which item gets synced. It makes sense for it to exist on Shopify also. It's a very small feature request. So if you are on GitHub or something, there is a link in the chat, and if you just drop that you want this feature request, like we can get this done probably very quickly. It's a small feature.
Second question is, does it work significantly different in version 12?
Not really. So the difference between the integration that exists directly in version 12 and version 13 is we have upgraded the app one. So we would definitely recommend using the app because it has more features. It has gotten more fixes, and the one in the one that exists in V12, that's not really maintained anymore because we deprecated the core integration. So I would highly recommend just using this one. Sorry?
Version 12 has integrated Shopify integration, and version 13 has an external app you have to install. Okay.
Yeah. So that's just a trend we are going towards, that all the add-ons should not be part of the ERPNext itself, but you can install them if you need it. So all the integration related stuff is separated out to a separate app. And you will see this trend as we move towards V14, that all the add-on stuff is moved out of ERPNext to separate apps. And it also allows us to like focus more on those things. And yeah, they are available on Marketplace. They are free. It's the same thing, just delivered differently.
So does it implies that you have changed the attitude to the monolithic approach and now are going to diverse? Because that was for years was the thing. Everything is integrated.
Yeah. So there is a huge talk. I'll probably link it in the chat. So if you were in the last conference, we gave explanation of why we are doing this. So monolith approach works, but this allows us to give like better focus to individual parts. And this is still like, these are still micro monoliths. This is not like microservices or anything.
Yeah, okay. That's a side issue.
Yeah, it's just a same code separated over multiple apps. So it's better controlled and better released. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Jay, your question, please.
I have a bunch of very technical questions, so I'm sorry if, the entity name on ERPNext and the entity legal name on Shopify, do they have to be connected by any chance? Do they have to be the same, or doesn't this thing care? It doesn't.
So while syncing, in the background we create a mapping between the ERPNext item code, that is a unique code on ERPNext, versus the Shopify's unique ID, and that mapping is maintained in background. You don't have to know about it, but if you want to know, it's called e-commerce item or something. I forgot the exact name. And that mapping is separate, so those names don't have to be same. But if they are same, as in your SKU on Shopify and your item code on ERPNext is same, then they will get auto linked in case you are syncing them afterwards. But yeah, it's basically there is a mapping maintained in background, so they don't have to be same. And you can even once they are mapped, you can even change them, and ERPNext can say something else and Shopify can say something else.
Cool. That was about the items. But if you're looking at Frappe Technologies, the company,
yeah,
that's on whom the billing is happening. Mm-hmm. There is a legal name in the company level on Shopify. So yeah, do they need to match, or
no?
Okay. And then would you know if this particular thing works if the Shopify site is not live, like if it's on a test mode or something? Because
not live as in
it's typically you don't pay the $29 for I'm just doing a demo for a client, and the client gave me a site which is a test site. Okay. Right, it's not live, so you need to put a password. Even the users need to put a password to be able to get it.
Okay, do you mean like does this work on live sites? Yeah, we have very at least 2 to 3 very active customer with huge client base who are using this integration. We have many in community, many who don't frequently ping us, but I know at least 2 to 3 who frequently ping us because they are
wonderfully well on live site, and you showed me.
Yeah.
And the question was the other way around. Does it work on a test site which is not live yet?
Yeah. So this site that Kimberley used was our test site, sort of. Yeah.
This is a test site. This is not paid for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can run it in development mode. Shopify might flag your site as a spam or something, and they might disable it after 2-3 months, but you can just create a new one. So it works on test site.
It works perfectly fine.
Cool. Thank you very much. Great demo.
Any other question we have, or should we call it an evening, afternoon, night, and morning? Great. So, you can find the recording for this webinar on our YouTube channel in a couple of days. And we'll meet next month on last Friday or Thursday for another demo on a different topic. Thank you for joining, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you for joining. Thank you.